I'm always trying to improve as a photographer. But sadly, that gets more and more difficult. The more experience you have, or just the older you get, it gets harder to change. But that's not entirely bad. Because, I don't know, you've developed a set of rules. Because you've seen what works, what doesn't work. You approach a situation with all these preconceived notions, which benefited you. But in time, they can also hold you back. So, one way I found that's very useful for improving in your photography is just try to get back to a state of being like a novice, as you were when you first started, without all those rules and preconceived notions. Just getting back to a state of pure experimentation, trial and error, not knowing what the hell you're doing. And with drone photography, I just get that by default, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I am brand new to it. I mean, I'm a few months in. I'm pretty new to it. And it's like noon or 1 o'clock. Not my favorite time to be out shooting. I don't love the light at this time of day, but maybe the rules are different with drone photography. Anyway, it's good to break the rules. Plus, this is the time I had available. What, should I have just not gone out because the conditions were unfavorable? Anyway, I will be here for a while, and I should have better light as the day goes on. Seems like drone videography is more common, more popular than drone still photography, and I guess I kinda get it. But I don't love videography on the same level that I love still photography. In a world without still photography, I would be glad we had videography, and I would do it and I would enjoy it, but I'm also glad that I don't live in that world. And that certainly goes for traditional ground-based video, but maybe even more so for aerial video, because I've seen that my whole life in movies. Even old movies have aerial shots, helicopter shots, crane shots. The only reason I have legit clips like this, like not screen recordings but actual video from the drone, is because between still photos, when I'm searching for my next shot, I just roll video, because why not? So in general, I have a preference for still photography, but even more so from the air, because I have not yet seen it done to death. I play various musical instruments, but guitar has always been my main instrument, my point of reference. Therefore, I play those other instruments like a guitar player, or to whatever extent possible, I play them like a guitar. But when asked, or if I choose to volunteer this information for whatever reason, I don't know, that's what I'm doing now. I will tell someone, like, for example, sure, yes, I play bass, but I play bass like a guitar player. Which is to say, leaving something to be desired. And I think I shoot video like a still photographer. I can do it. I can even do a credible job, honestly. But because I lack the passion, I don't think I could ever truly become great at it. And there are people who are truly great at it. But there's only enough time in life to become good at a limited number of things, and I'm very comfortable with my choice, what I've chosen to focus my attention on. And who knows, maybe someday I'll change my mind. And then there's this whole related field that I can explore, and that'll be fun in this hypothetical scenario. The controller lost signal here, which is always kind of terrifying, but the drone is designed to just turn around and come right back whenever that happens, which it did, and everything was fine. Still scary though, not being in control. Traditional photography is such a lean forward, active type of experience. It's really odd to do photography as a lean back experience, where you're sort of disconnected. But that's how drone photography is. And I like it. I like doing something different. drone laws and the physical laws of radio signals. That is to say, both descriptive and prescriptive laws prevent me from doing this the way I would really like to, which is to set up kind of a command center indoors in my apartment, connect the controller to a big monitor, literally make it into a lean back type of experience, completely detached from the reality of the situation or from the real world. Treat it like a video game. You know, launch the drone out of a window, sit in my comfy office chair, fly around, location scout, take photos from a distance. Maybe I wouldn't ultimately like it, but I'd love to give it a try at least one time. Also, my office chair is really not all that comfy. I was overselling it there a little bit. But honestly, as silly as it may seem, owning a thing that's capable of remote flight does increase, or has increased, my sense of freedom. I feel like I've gained an ability. Yeah, flight, but that's not it exactly. Sure, it'd be really cool to actually, me, myself, be floating in the air, taking photos. That would have a lot of value, artistically and otherwise. But I'm saying this alternate version of that experience, of sort of peeking in a place I can't physically go, that also has a lot of value that is uniquely its own. In other words, if I could do the one, that doesn't mean I would no longer want to do the other. I think it's a very different mindset, and both would have value. Maybe it borders on the creepy, the idea of seeing from a place where you are not. But it isn't creepy, of course, because I'm not invading anyone's privacy. But maybe that's part of the appeal, this idea that you're doing something unnatural. I don't know. It blows my mind how complacent people are toward drones. It's just short of magic. And I wonder if I'll live long enough to experience drone complacency. I doubt it. It's completely miraculous to me. And although I'm generally kind of turned off to technology these days, the drone gives me a reason to be kind of optimistic about technology, because this doesn't subtract anything from my life, it only adds to it. I'd be super curious to hear experiences of someone with limited mobility, to see if they feel similar. I mean, I feel like if that were my circumstance, a drone would absolutely increase my sense of freedom. I mean, as I mentioned, it already does, and that's not my circumstance, but of course I can't actually know without being in that situation. Taking photos with the camera pointed straight down is something I'm in particular interested in working on, because it's just so different than anything I could have done before I bought this drone. And it's cool, you can customize the remote, but there is a button. Its default behavior is to just snap the camera down, back up again. This is great for safety as you're navigating around, but it's really great if you happen to be interested in shooting from that perspective. You can quickly look for shots that way. This is kind of cool. It's a gap, and all the trees are leaning away from it. I mean, they're not literally leaning away from it, but that's how it looks from this perspective. Is it just uncool to be impressed by amazing things? Is that what's going on? Speaking of things I'm impressed about, as we're losing the light here, I just couldn't be happier how well this little, basically an action camera, is doing in low light. I liked that last shot, by the way, but it is exceeding my expectations. There you go, there's an example of me not trying to shoot downward, but just using that same button to make sure I don't whack into the top of a tree. That's not a great shot, but still impressed with the low light performance. I mean, that looks dark because it's supposed to look dark, because it was dark, but there's still a lot of detail in the shadows, and a minimal amount of noise. Some noise, of course, but not as much as I would expect. And on the other side of expectations versus reality, this whole time I've been really looking forward to sunset, but I just sort of couldn't get anything interesting at sunset with the drone. I don't really know why that is. And will that always be the case? Is it something about this specific sunset? Is it something about this type of location? I have no idea. But it's about to be dark. I'm an hour and a half from home, so I'm calling it a day.